ultimately, the reason these infill policies, as correct as they are in my mind, with the exception of sort of weird legislation like SB 10, most infill policies we would want to support. Even when we support them, they really don't get to the heart of the housing crisis, and that's really the big issue here.
Well, I'm glad you bring up the Sandag forecast and we need 13 to 15,000 housing units a year. The problem is all those numbers is nobody's paying attention to those numbers. The state of California is not even paying attention to the numbers. State of California, if you read housing elements, they say that we need X number of units at these various income levels. And that's frankly the wrong way to be ascribing and planning for housing, because guess what? A unit is a unit. So if you build a small studio of 500 square feet, or you build a single family home, that's considered one unit. Nobody, the cities or the state of California, is looking at what type of housing are we actually building. We track permits, but we don't track, are those 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms? Does it accommodate families? We've investigated this. We've looked into this the last couple of years. And what we've noticed is if you look back in the 2000s and all the housing that was built in San Diego County, 1 out of every 10 units being built was what we call a small unit. So a studio, a 1 bedroom. Okay. If you fast forward to basically the past 5 years, the latter 2015 to 2020, we were building 1 out of every 3 units. 30% of our housing inventory has been small units of ones and studios. And now this new dynamic of a micro unit, which is smaller than 500 square feet. And the problem is we need to see, is that the right type of housing we should be building, especially when we've cut our single family home production that accommodates families by 6,000 to 7,000 units a year. We haven't talked about how to replace that yet. All we're focusing on is, or what policy is allowing to happen, is for these smaller units to be encouraged to build. But it doesn't do much. It doesn't do anything. The Union Tribune highlighted some engineer that I recall that makes $100,000 a year, and he's divorced and has 2 kids, and he needs affordable housing. And if we looked at the actual housing that we're building, if we build a micro unit, if we build a studio, that doesn't help somebody of this demographic. And we need to start thinking about how can we start building this family housing, because while there's a demand, and it will be argued that, well, there's demand for those smaller units. Yes, that's true. But there's also a significant pent-up demand for housing for families. And that's the type of housing that really, I will say, drives the economy. When you look at jobs and you look at how industries work in different employment sectors, those are driven by employees that are in the middle of their career. People in their 30s and 40s, they run the company. That's the talent that's needed to make companies operate. It's not the old senior people that are maybe half retired, and it's not the young people. So we're seeing this exodus of people that can no longer afford San Diego, let alone California. And it's resulting in this bid up of wages, and people can't afford to live here because they don't, frankly, have the housing to do it.